Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're covering Digimon Adventure: 2020, episode 27, To a New Continent. I'm May, and I'm joined by the lovely Quinn.
Evening, or whatever.
Evening, day, morning, afternoon. What are other times of days that people could be listening? I think that covers it all, right?
Dusk.
Yeah, dusk. Twilight,
Ooh,
like the book.
Good one.
Book/movie series. I think that's it. I think that covers all the times that people could be listening to this podcast. And so just before we start, just a bit of housekeeping. Stevie is not going to be in the recording this week. They hopefully will be able to join us next week. We have Stevie's stance for episode 26, which I'll be giving you shortly, and episode 27 will Stevie's thoughts will be in the discussion portion of the podcast. So for episode 26, let's see what Stevie's stance was. So overall thoughts were the fighting sequences were pretty cool, and they loved Greymon and Waruseijimon slicing into each other. The dramatic arrival of the others. Yeah, that is fair. I did like the battle, and I do like, and I'll talk about it in this episode, but I do like when Digimon are just sort of there, being territorial and basically eating each other. Like, I don't think we've really seen Digimon eating each other. Maybe we saw some in Tamers, but that wasn't just straight up eating them.
No, it was kill them and then sort of vaguely
this one's just like
their blood.
Yeah, but like not in a gory sense. Like you kind of just absorb them.
Yeah.
Like,
we made vor jokes, but now we're just straight up doing DigiVore.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool in Tamers how they were just absorbing them, but I think I prefer them actually eating them because it has like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of it.
If we're going to do evolution, let's finally make it something like evolution.
Yeah, if we're going to like make them like monsters and like real creatures, make them do things like real creatures do, like actually eat. Mm-hmm. Like the only Digimon we've seen eat is like Agumon, and it's always been like
human food.
You know, it's friendly things. Like, you know, we might have some weird digital world fruit that look like Digitama, but...
Or meat that comes out of the ground.
Yeah, like, it's always very, like, child-friendly. Like, it's very not violent. But this is just, like, straight up eating each other, and it makes it feel so much more... Anyway, so, sorry, but that was a bit of a tangent. I'm a big fan of it, as you can tell. Back to what Stevie says in Stevie's stance for episode 26, the dramatic arrival of the others was way better than back against Nidhoggmon 2, and I would totally agree.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I liked both, but this one was better. Stevie is also on the Taichi should have drowned multiple times train, though, so we all agree on that. And Hikari is a little light, I think that's a pun, on character depth, which, yeah... I agree, like, in this episode also, they don't know how to have Hikari not be the little sister type, but, I don't know, hopefully we get more.
They're having Hikari be Rei, I think, is what they're going for, and
which doesn't fit.
No. It just doesn't fit the show at all. And I don't think they're doing anything with it. I am beyond believing that Digimon is doing anything with anything on purpose.
No, except for the DigiVore, which is up and coming.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think it's like Hikari's personality is more like when she's being taken over by homeostasis, right? Like, so I would be totally on board if we find out that she's just been, like, possessed by homeostasis this entire time, and that's why she's got, like, a weird sort of, like, flat character.
I could definitely see them pulling it, but I'm also pretty close to believing that we're gonna just invent characters and go, oh yeah, that was all just sort of vaguely magic anyway.
Yeah, I mean, also, people on Twitter don't like how we keep on saying that Hikari has no personality, because apparently she was always like that. I'm like, well, to some extent, yes, but not this bad. Like, she
and it also wasn't good then. Hikari came out of original Adventure also pretty much not having a personality.
Yeah, but she had more than this.
She had more than this, and I'm just saying, we trashed Adventure for the same thing, and they decided to double down on that.
Like, the most personality that she ever had was in the prequel movie, but in the dub.
Yeah.
Like you could say whatever you like about the dub. You can criticize it. It does have some silly moments and silly changes. But that first prequel movie has basically no dialogue in the original. It's just Bolero. And in the dub, it's just Hikari having these great one-liners.
Really good.
Honestly, don't attack the bus. I know they're always running late, but it's not their fault. Like, that's great. Like,
11-year-old me really wanted to be Hikari at that moment.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
It was a really identifying moment of just being incredibly funny.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, back to Stevie's stance. Stevie says that their favourite character was Koshiro because he looked badass on top of Mega Kabuterimon and solved the boat issue finally. I'm like, that did happen, didn't it? I thought it just sort of more or less solved itself. Like, I guess solving in a very, like, loose definition. But yeah, Koshiro
like I
was
said,
great.
We gave a really weirdly... Like, if I explained this solution to my boss, she would not think it was stupid kind of way.
Yeah.
But, which I like that we have Koshiro solving problems. I just feel like it didn't need to be this very specific, yes, in fact, he should be in college kind of problem.
Which is always like, I mean, that was the same as like the original. He was always very smart, and I'm glad they're kind of like really doubling down on that. And I guess it's helped because he has the internet. It's like, what if Koshiro was as smart as before, except now he can Google things?
Yeah, like, no, like it's really,
I'm fine with that, yeah.
It like I said, it's really good. Like the solution, technically speaking, was cool. I feel like maybe it would have worked better if you did all the action at once, and then Koshiro just had to fix things for a minute and explained his brilliant plan.
Yeah, but it worked. Like, maybe we've just all lowered our expectations on Digimon being good and having any, like, cohesive explanations or any sort of way that they're going to be writing out of any troubles that the kids come up with. I just think, yeah, okay, that's an explanation. They didn't just say, oh yeah, whatever, we just fired a big laser and it worked. Like, I am so much on board for any explanation instead of just, oh, we just attacked harder, which I know that's a shonen thing. Like, just, oh, have we ever tried just attacking harder or just trying? Like, actually come up with, like, some tactics.
Yeah.
Because this show's doing tactics, like, better than the original.
I feel like you could have taken that sequence and made it kind of funny and good if you'd done it a really specific way, which is you first do it as the Digimon, and you have Koshiro, keep going. No, just keep it going. I've got a solution coming. You guys just do the fighting part, being really dismissive and annoying. You have them win the fight and feel like they solved the real problem and are mad at Koshiro. And then we see everything again from his point of view as he fixes the real problem.
Yeah.
That would have been
totally,
cute.
Like, in character. Yeah. That would have been cute. But I think which is like the slogan for this season of the podcast is just like, oh yeah, that'd be really good, but it's not going to happen because that'd be good.
Or here's how we could have done exactly the same thing, but actually good. Like,
yeah.
For a minute.
And then Stevie gives this episode a rating of 3, which is basically in between the two of our ratings. Like, since I gave it a 3.5, Quinn gave it a 2.5, so a 3 is completely reasonable. That gives it a total of 9, which I'll just look at where we put in the overall. I put it below 24 in the overall, was as like a sort of placeholder. And actually, that's spot on. 24, we gave a 9.75, and this is, if we get this one a 9, that's actually pretty good. And episode 4 was below it, which we gave a 9.
Okay.
We are fantastic, because that's exactly where it, that was just a guess, but that is exactly where it goes according to our rankings. So
perfect.
Good
also,
for us. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to move that on.
It's impossible that Stevie made that happen. I don't know if they looked at what we gave it first.
They were writing it at the time that I plopped in the rankings, but I feel like they probably would not have. But anyway, yeah, I feel like that's just. I think it's just we are so good at predicting overall rankings. Anyway, so that was it for Stevie's stance for episode 26, and of course, once we're done discussing the episode, just before questions, we will address Stevie's stance for episode 27. And again, before we begin, just 2 more things of housekeeping, and this is because I forgot to mention them last week. when they were more relevant. So the first thing is something that somebody pointed out to me in the YouTube clip that I uploaded from where Tokumon is evolving to Patamon, and they pointed out that Tokumon, like when he's on the ground with Takaru, isn't actually Tokumon at all. It's actually Koromon, and this you can kind of tell because due to the size of the Digimon and the color and the position of the ears and the shape of the eyes and the mouth and the body, it's definitely like that is Koromon, because Tokumon has like his ears
no, that's
slash
100%.
like yeah.
Like, unambiguously.
Like, I posted this a few places and people said, oh no, it could still be like Tokumon just in a weird position. I'm like, no, the eyes, like Tokumon has like round eyes and Koromon has oval eyes, and Tokumon's mouth is more like a cat mouth, like a 3 shape, and Koromon's mouth like takes up his entire face.
And the opposable ears.
Yeah, and Tokumon still has the ears, but his ears are a lot more forward and less like spaced out. They're more together and forward on the ball, and also there are just no legs, and the color is just different. So that's definitely Koromon, which just feels like, I don't know, it feels that feels like a weird sort of feels like a weird animation error. Yeah, like I don't know, that just feels kind of weird. Anyway, thank you for pointing that out. I'm not sure if they listened to this podcast or they just saw the clip on YouTube, but thank you. I didn't pick that up. I guess I wasn't looking at the Koromon / Tokumon, but that is very funny. Like, and I know Diz in the Discord server pointed out that in one frame you can see like the guidelines on Taichi's head, like where you would draw all the features, is actually left on, and you can just see it below the eye.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, I know I like animation errors, but I don't look for them, so I don't really pick them up.
Yeah.
But once they're pointed out, like I can't not see them. Like that, the Koromon one is just like, I don't know how I missed that. That is very much Koromon. And then the final order of business is that I did a dumb skit because I came up with this idea on my lunch break once, and I was like, this is hilarious. And what it is it's called Basically Every Episode of Digimon, which is also like a lot of people saying, oh, you can't just drag Digimon like that. It's that's all shown. And I'm like, no, that doesn't mean it's good. And it's the fact that they never actually tried when they are when they're in their battle. They're like, oh, okay, now that I've seen everyone be in pain, I can actually try. Like, it's just, I thought it was funny, so I did a dumb skit, and I will put both the dumb skit and the Koromon Tokumon in the link dump.
This season does continue and this episode, I guess, going into a little bit of discussion on this one, continues the weird tradition of, oh, hey, if we go up to adult, we have probably 50-50 odds. We could just smash them in one hit, but no, let's make this fair.
I mean, I think it's, like, I don't think anybody in this show has evolved straight from, like, adult to perfect. Like, they've always gone just to adult and then 5 minutes later become perfect. So maybe they can't. Maybe there's like a cooldown in evolution.
I've definitely seen at least the main character boys do it at least once.
Yeah, but
and
it's not like...
I would probably guess more often.
Like, in Savers, they were constantly just sort of like, hey, can we just get to our strongest? Okay, let's, like, double warp Digivolve, or just warp Digivolve.
Yeah, just whatever.
Was basically just, like, warp Digivolve isn't necessarily just to, you're fully evolved. And I'm gonna, okay, what I'm gonna start doing, just quick tangent, is I'm going to call, perfect, and then I'm gonna call mega.
Yeah,
so,
that's
because
kind of what I try to do.
Yeah, those two terms are completely unique. And I'm just like, because the subtitles keep on saying ultimate for perfect, even though they're saying perfect.
This is the same reason that instead of using GIF or GIF, I make everyone hate me by going with GIF.
GIF. Or what about YIF?
YIF is also a really strong contender.
Yeah. It's like the galaxy brain. GIF, 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 YIF is like the exploding one. That's the galaxy brain. Anyway... So, what was I talking about before I got on my tangent about in Savers, how we were always, like, warp digivolving wasn't necessarily to mega. It could have been anything that you're skipping an extra stage. And then I think double warp digivolve was when they go from, like, child to mega. The children, Leomon, Spartamon, and the Peckmons, and I guess Falcomon too, but you don't really see him, he just sort of shows up when it's relevant, I don't know, are all on the Eldoradimon, and Taichi asks Hikari who called her, which is a completely valid question, and he's actually kind of acknowledging that she's here this time, he's not just in shock, and she says she doesn't know, which is fair. Like, she can't just say, the Digimon! Like, she doesn't seem to know what Digimon are, like in the original, how she was like, oh, well, I know what Digimon are, I don't know Koromon, I know Agumon. So I guess we're not getting a prequel.
I think I could be convinced that up until now she's been homeostasis or whatever, but you really gotta make that switch a little more dramatic and give her a minute of being like, oh my god, I was so worried about you, give me something.
Yeah, give her like because remember in the real world we had a shot where she told the mum, don't worry, Taichi's okay.
Yeah,
that was very weird.
And yeah, I could totally be convinced that from that point on, she's been literally someone else, and it'd be lazy, but it's fine. But if you're gonna flip that switch, and I feel like that's kind of what they're going for, really do it, please. Give her a real personality, something.
Yeah, I just don't think we're going to get a personality. I'm actually jumping ahead a bit, but the new outro animation actually showed Hikari, which for some reason I was really surprised about. I don't know why, I full on expected her just to not exist. And we have Tailmon shown, so Tailmon's in the intro and the outro.
I was expecting them to maybe fake us out by not including Gatomon.
Yeah. I'm still on the Gatomon is actually evil train. That is still,
please.
Where I want. I want her to be, actually, not, just oh, I remembered I was a good guy. Now I'm a good guy. I don't... I mean, as a kid, I was like, oh, that's really cool. But as an adult, I don't like that. I know, yes, it's a kid's show, duh. Well, but...
It was the first... As a kid, it was the first time I'd ever seen that.
Yeah.
And really paid attention to it. I know it was in, She-Ra and... all of those all the time. But still, for me, it was a unique experience.
I mean... It's a unique experience in terms of the character becomes good and then doesn't immediately die, which is something that a lot of pieces of media do. The bad guy, the bad guy realizes that they should be a good guy, but then they unfortunately just decide to die. I mean, it kind of happens to Beelzemon, but in Tamers, but he gets better, but he kind of is just in a depression hole, and Ken kind of also goes into a depression hole. So that's I guess the PG-13 version of they were bad but then they decided to be good. But both of those are written slightly better than just Tailmon going, well, I'm good now. I realize that this is my destiny, so you can't argue with destiny. I feel like if this show can have the potential to be so good if they just have, okay, it's my destiny, so what? I'm evil, and then tries to punch Hikari into the sun. That'd be great. I'd be like, this is a good, I would say this whole season is good if that happened. If we have Hikari just completely devoid of any emotion or character depth, and then we have Tailmon who's just tries to murder this child and actually goes through with it a little bit more than just, why can't I do this? I don't know.
Oh shit, you know what? When they do eventually turn her or kill Tailmon, please, Hikari suddenly has to, deal with trauma for a minute and stops dissociating. Hooray! And then we get a personality for the last 30 episodes.
That'd be, hard to do without just, doing what we... I feel like we just had,
It'd be so much.
Takeru. Takeru just walking around with the egg and the baby Digimon. I feel like we would have the same thing, unless Tailmon, perma-dies.
That's what I meant, perma-kill Tailmon, and then just never have both of them have a personality at the same time, because they had to share.
I don't expect permadeath from Digimon in terms of, an actual partner Digimon. We've seen it once with Leomon, and that was surprising. That's still... I know, I don't think Tamers is as, fantastic and perfect and, dark as everyone says. It's still, a kid show. People say, oh, this is... I still really enjoy Tamers. It's definitely my... second favorite. I
was definitely surprised as a kid specifically when Leomon didn't come back within 2 episodes because I'd seen anime.
Yeah. I 100% thought he would come back at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of a little bit surprised that he didn't. They actually did permadeath, and Digimon doesn't they either do permadeath and then never they never talk about Wizamon again.
Mm.
They just sort of say,
until 1 minute of 02. which was weird.
And then, like, less than a minute of Try, and he was on the poster, which was super hype, and then we're just like, oh, we just see him...
I missed it. Or have forgotten it, because Try.
When Hikari is having, like, vague trauma, that we see, like, and, like, when Tailmon is, like, in a Fannymon fall-down mode, we see, like, Wizarmon's, like, it could be a flashback. Like, we see, like, a shot of Wizarmon, but we don't know if it's, like, that's his spirit visiting her.
I would assume, yeah, could be spirit, could be flashback. Who the hell knows? Try was knows? Bad.
Yeah, and but yeah, Digimon doesn't like permadeath, and especially not like with super main characters, and not just like this is a plot device who's meant to die. Mm-hmm. Atmon killed off one of the humans, by the way, and may be permadeath. That was super dark. No one talks about. People say, "Oh, Atmon's bad." I'm like, "Did you watch?" Like, it's.
Atmon was great after. Yeah. After what's his name stopped being quite so annoying.
Oh, Astra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe, like, the complete 180 I did on Astra. Like, I hated him at the start, but then, like, he actually got a really good character. Anyway, it's a portion of the episode where we talk about seasons that aren't Digimon Adventure : But yeah.
Alright, to be nice, I will not go on my rant about Astra.
Okay, we'll cover Atmon again at some point, when it gets a dub, hopefully. Anyway, so where were we? Oh yeah, Hikari doesn't know how she was there. I really hope it's homeostasis, and not just Tailmon calling for her, because we already did that with Takaru. I don't want it to be like one for one, just the same as Takaru, but this time it's a cat and a girl rather than a hamster with big wings ears or whatever. I don't know. I don't want the same thing again. Mm-hmm. So Taichi notices that they're approaching a continent which has some black lightning, which is the same from that weird sort of like network area between the two worlds. And then Koshiro upgrades everyone's Digivices and unlocks this really cool database so they can analyze their Digimon in a Digidex. And when all their Digivices were started beeping, I was 100% like, oh, here comes Genai! Which, I don't think Genai exists, and I don't know how to feel about this.
Either that or he'll be there for the last episode to explain that it was a prophecy.
Like, the face when you are replaced by Google, because Genai is 100% replaced by just having the internet in this season, which, like, I mean, Genai was just like the Siri or the Google Assistant or the Alexa of the show. Oh my god,
they might finally get me to use OK Google if I could get Genai's voice.
You can change the voice, but, like, I wish it was, like,
I don't think I can get Genai.
Yeah, like, I know in some sat-nav systems, like, a lot of, like, people with voices, as in, like, you know, celebrities. Yeah, like, I have Stephen Fry doing it because I thought that was great, like, 10 years ago when I first learned how to drive, and I was like, it costs, like, $5 to buy this Stephen Fry DLC, but I wish Google had that option, because I would pay so much money for, like, either a voice actor of Genai or no matter the version, or just like an impersonator to just dub all of the OK Google. Oh, I shouldn't say thanks Google. No, never mind. And I'd be so on board for just Genai being there and being my assistant, and I'd be really cool. But yeah, he was 100% replaced by the internet and Google in general. So yeah, I think I'm okay with that. But I think we saw so much of him in Try, we don't want to ever see him again.
Yeah.
Back on from that brief, constant, like, jumping between, like, different seasons and also different Google Assistants and stuff, which Genai is totally replaced by, Koshiro then fills Taichi in about the state of the human world and how Zurumon is causing issues. And I'm really glad that they actually filled it in, because I would be so annoyed if they didn't fill the other characters in about what was happening. And then I realised that it's kind of weird that Koshiro fills Taichi's group in, but nobody from Taichi's groups lets others know what happened. Like, there is an extra kid here, and also, like, Devimon happened, and Taichi got vored, and there was all this plot stuff.
No, we just didn't even talk about, oh yeah, by the way, I did a Dark Evolve for a minute.
Yeah, for some reason I expected, I mean, I know that they do later on sort of fill it in, because Sora actually prompts Yamato to say, hey, is that your brother? Like, it feels kind of weird that when Koshiro's filling in Taichi says, oh, by the way, I got vored, and also, like, somehow Yamato's little brother was yeeted into the digital world by plot. Like, And also the holy Digimon. We found the holy Digimon. It's this hamster here. It's a holy hamster, actually. I don't know.
Palmon even comments on, you don't look any different than... Okay.
Yeah, Palmon's great. Like, there's like a little bit more sass. Like, I know Palmon and Mimi always had like... Yeah, like, they turned up the sass just a little bit, and I'm kind of a huge fan of that, because who would you expect out of the team to have the most sass? Definitely the one wearing, like, the pink cowboy hat, and also her pot plant. Like, that is, like...
I wish I could say I thought it would be Sora. Sassy Sora could be amazing.
Well, yeah, but she doesn't get any personality, because Mimi took it all.
It's true. God, Mimi really did just get... Sora, Takaru, and Kikari's personalities.
She ate all their and I think somewhat of Joe's too, because I feel like Joe looks every episode to have a moment, and then, like, we just ignore the fact he has a moment. Like, when he introduces himself to Hikari, he's like, I'm the leader, and then Goemon's like, it's okay, she'll let you know if she needs you. Like, Goemon doesn't shut Joe down and say, like, oh, you're not a leader. He just says, come on, you're being a little bit extra. Like, I think we all need a Goemon. Every time we're being a little bit too much, we need, like, Goemon to, like, not completely, like, dismiss us, but say, okay, it's okay, we'll let you know. Like, I don't know, Goemon's so good. I wish we had more of a focus on Goemon in Joe, because it's only, like, one small moment per episode, and it's never enough.
They need their own episode soon, and it sure doesn't feel like it's coming.
We're all getting, unless... They do, like, okay, here's everyone's ultimate evolutions. Taichi and Yamato, they get their own individual episode, one each. And then the rest of the kids, we're just going to all just, like, say, hey, you can evolve too. And then they're going to evolve. Like, if that happens, this will be, like, probably still better than Frontier, but not by much. Yeah. This will be, like, I think it'll be, like, worse than 02, if that happens. Mm. It's on track to be worse than 02 at the moment, but I still have hope. Like, we have 59 episodes left.
We do. There is a lot of room there to turn it around, but I can't, like, some of the animation errors and things I could blame on COVID, but I
think it's still one animator. I think it's, like, the art staff is, like, one person still, I'm fairly certain.
Wow, that's not okay.
I mean, if it is one person, great job. I may point out funny, like, animation things, like, in this episode, we have and I'm just going to talk about it now because I might even forget, where Garurumon is, like, he's jumping through the air, and, like, the hand on the far side, like, the entire arm on the far side is just black. Like, that's not how shadows work. If I stretch my arm out 1 meter, it doesn't, like, become, like, a black mess of, like, blob. That's not...
What like, was that?
I'm not an artist. I don't... Like, I sometimes I draw... I'd never draw anything that's, like, fantastic or phenomenal, but I have drawn before, but I don't know perspective. I don't have any perspective in anything I've ever drawn. It's hard, but it feels just like that's not how, I'm fairly certain that's not how perspective works, and I know because I exist in the 3D space. If I put my arm out, it may have a bit of a shadow, but it's not, like, completely devoid of any colour. It is just it's not a black arm. And like, or a lifeless blob. It's weird. But still, I will point out things that look weird. But if it is one person, like, I'm still like, great job doing it. I clap.
No, 100%. I clap. Like...
But still, like, I will point out weird things.
No, very much. But the degree to which, like... I wish we only had one writer. I wish that there was one person with some idea of what they wanted to do with this show in charge, but instead it's this weird mess of, well, let's just keep deferring the plot. We killed our first big bad, and I don't care, and the kids didn't notice. That wasn't a resolution to anything.
Yeah, nobody even really said Devimon's name in this episode. Like, in a bit we'll have Sora asking Yamato if Takeru is his brother, and Yamato says, oh yeah, and also Patamon is a holy Digimon. That's it. We don't say, like, or maybe we do say, oh, Devimon was defeated, but it's sort of, like, brushed aside. Like, this was a big bad. Taichi got vored. Agumon became 2 separate Digimon. Like, it became an evil Digimon and then a less evil Digimon, or a good Digimon, I guess. I don't know. You can't really tell from his appearance because it was kind of just a yellow blob. But that's... I don't know. I feel like I know we may have been short for time, and you can tell because we don't have any, like, full animation sequences, even for the main 2 kids. So, I don't know. I know we're stripped for time, but I feel like they could have just slotted something in there about, I don't know, it felt weird that they didn't really address much of what the other kids missed out on, but Koshiro did a great job about filling in what happened. I kind of loved that. Koshiro's still the best. Anyway, so Hikari meets Agumon and says he's cute, and it's this really adorable scene, and I really love how we have the moment of, like, I know, I'm trying to work out how to say it. I like how they animate Agumon's face to smile. It feels like, I don't know, I really like it. I'm a big fan of it, and I feel like we haven't really seen Digimon emote much, and this season actually has Digimon emote. Mm-hmm. Like, Agumon's always just been kind of like the static face, and how, when he smiles, like, it actually, like, bunches up his eyes, like, you know, when someone really smiles. And, I mean, we don't necessarily see lizards smile, they just kind of open up their mouths. I want a bearded dragon so badly, by the way. I want one. Anyway, because they look like they're happy when they open their mouths. Anyway, I just really like how the eyes sort of like, the eyes smile. I'm really bad at wording this, but it's just really cute. Anyway, so Taichi notes that Hikari isn't surprised by Digimon, which, so glad they noted that, because it is a little bit weird. And then Hikari looks at Patamon with her cold, dead eyes, and Takeru introduces himself and Patamon. Why is she okay with Digimon? Like, if they actually do have her being possessed by homeostasis this entire time, I would be so on board. I don't think, like, as I said, slogan of this season of the podcast is, I would like that to happen, but that sounds good, so it's not happening. Homeostasis permanently
having
possessing
Hikari just have a personality the whole time definitely would have been better. On the other hand, at this point, yeah, if you actually plan to do, Hikari was possessed the whole time, then that was a bad decision. But if that's what you decide to do at this point, to just go in a different direction, please do it. Give her a personality.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way of explaining away, she didn't have a personality and she was just really weird. Well, isn't she like, doesn't Taichi take her temperature like in the first episode, like, hey, you feeling okay, that sort of thing? Or am I just combining different versions of Adventure?
I definitely don't specifically recall that.
Because, like, you could just say, she was acting a bit weird because that was when she was possessed. Like, she was possessed from episode 1. And, I would really like that. Like, I want evil Tailmon, and then I want homeostasis possessing Hikari.
And I want Hikari to have feelings about that. You hijacked my life.
She didn't try. Like, I was not a huge fan of Try. I thought overall it was okay. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not like on the I hate Try train, because it had some good parts, and I really liked the first 3. Oh my god, I'm talking about a different season again. Anyway, but my favorite part.
We need to not.
No, yeah, but just quickly, I did like how in one of the parts, Hikari was basically just telling homeostasis to like bug off. Mm-hmm. Because she was possessed and she didn't like being possessed. Like, that was good choice. I would not like being possessed by, like,
I wish that
God
mattered.
Either. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but that's a lot of things about Digimon. I wish that mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try especially, yeah. Hikari doesn't have a Digivice, and then Koshiro finds out that there is another problem going out, but this time it's not with ships, it's just with spaceships. So it's fine. So there's a problem at NASA, and because of course there is, and the black cloud from the continent that they're approaches them, and we see Zeromon is eating some data, and then the rocket explodes. So RIP a bunch of people.
Yeah, also, NASA doesn't have rockets anymore.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like a collaboration with SpaceX.
Maybe, yeah. But I believe SpaceX, like, bought the rights to be on the front cover for that. In any event, It's really funny to me as an American who cares about the fact that we don't have a space program anymore, to pretend that we do. It makes me a little sad.
Well, either they didn't do the research, or they didn't get the rights to say SpaceX.
Possible? I feel like you can say that anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. But, so, rocket explodes, and I guess they don't say if it's unmanned or not, so...
They sure didn't.
Yep. And then Sora wonders if the black lightning is synchronized with the disasters in the human world, which I'm fairly certain we already said was, but I don't know. But at least we have Sora having a line this time, so go off, I guess. Koshiro wonders if it's Zeromon, and I also would have thought that it was Zeromon straight away. I thought that would have been completely without saying, but whatever, go off, I guess. He gets a line. And then Yamato says it's like Nidhoggmon in the fake Tokyo. And I'm like, I mean, we've seen other things also do that same thing since, but
like a lot
maybe
of
Yamato...
things. It's just a normal thing at this point.
Yeah, this is just, it just happens. It's just Tuesday, I don't know. Taichi says that they have to do something about it, which... Okay, thanks, Sherlock. I'm glad that we had your participation in the conversation. Of course they have to do something, they're the main characters, duh. And I don't know, he also says that like every episode, hey, there's a problem over there. We have to do something about it. I don't know.
I don't have a solution, but I feel like we should have a plan.
Yeah. So the lightning is about to like kill the kids, and Leomon, Falcomon, and Spartamon protect the children from the lightning with their fists, apparently. And also Falcomon's claw, I guess, I don't know. And then Leomon says that Eldoradimon's wounds aren't healed from the miasma, which... The thing about miasma is that it seems to stick to people and Digimon when they're under the influence of miasma. So why don't we see any on Eldoradimon? And also, like, Taichi, a tiny 10-year-old boy, was, like, covered in it, and he is fine. Agumon was basically like absorbed into miasma and also vored by somebody who was like the embodiment of miasma and didn't die.
Patamon's egg.
Yeah, Patamon became an egg and wasn't evil because he was doused in miasma. Everyone's been doused in miasma and we're fine. I know Eldoradimon was probably there for longer. Yeah, but Eldoradimon doesn't have any like miasma wounds. Like he's just sort of there. I don't know. It feels like...
Yeah, Eldoradimon more or less was the source of... Anyway,
Yeah, anyway. I don't know. So, we get some, like, fast-paced evolutions from Biomon, Tentomon, and Gomon, and the children are taken away to safety. And I'm pretty sure Leomon, Falcomon, Spartamon, and Eldoradimon just died, despite Leomon just saying we can't just leave Eldoradimon here. And I guess we're just all leaving them behind.
The Leomon went down with his floating island turtle, I guess?
Yeah. I guess, yeah, that's the thing. The band show goes down with his turtle.
Putting a pause on the Leomon death clock, which I haven't updated in a minute, because
I think he died, and if he does, this is the worst death ever, because it's like...
it's so bad.
It's so off-screen. Like, I felt like... I don't think he's dead, because I feel like it's complete, like...
They did really ham up the I'm sure we'll meet again, which I feel like is a signal that he's not really dead, but is... going off screen. If they could have Leomon and Eldoradimon just go to the real world for a minute, I think they would have. Because I feel like that's basically what we're doing.
Also, for some reason, the weird whirlpool that they turn into just reminds me of that thing that could have been good in 02, which is a lot of things, arguably, where they go down to some, Ken's lair, and then there's, like, Devimon...
When gets to be Jesus briefly.
Yeah, when Takaru, like, also punches, like, Ken, like, it's
that
great.
Was awesome.
But, like, and then, like, Takaru gets, like, a bit of PTSD, which is, he should. Like, he has seen, all the kids should have PTSD, but Takaru is the only one who seems to have it, which is fine. Like, it's better one than none.
Yeah, well, and he is the only one whose partner died. I will give them that. If we're gonna pick one, it needed to be him, but it sure doesn't ever matter.
Yeah, it's only relevant when the plot decides... but yeah, there was definitely something down in the water, and he sees Devimon again, but it just reminded me of that, and, like, how much, like, so many things could have happened in 02 that just were never mentioned again. Like, that random whirlpool of evil, which is, like, where the evil Digimon go to die or something, and also Dagomon. Like, those things could have been connected, for all we know. Those could have both been the Dark Ocean, but we'll never know because it was never mentioned again. All the good things in 02 are not relevant. It's terrible. Anyway, so we get the evolutions, and Eldoradimon's dead, and then we approach some land, and it looks like it's covered with Tortomon, and it is, which is just really... I just really like it. I'm glad that we see Tortomon in a horde and not just, like, one single one who needs to pee real badly. I don't know, thanks again, 02. Taichi jumps off Kabuterimon. I don't know why he always insists on, like, jumping to his death whenever he wants Agumon to fight. Like, later on, we see, like, this shot...
So that he can impress Hikari.
Basically...
but it's just... That's canon until further notice.
Basically, but the thing is, he's always, like, fighting alongside of Agumon, which is cool. I do like that, but he's the only one who does it, and also it seems very reckless and dangerous. Like, all the other perfects are charging into battle later on.
He should have died
and then,
again this episode of friendly fire this time.
Like, I know his crest is the crest of courage, but we established in the first season that courage isn't, like, the absence of fear.
He has the crest of YOLO.
Yeah, he has the crest of YOLO. Like, he's just jumping to his death. Like, that's not brave. And if they actually do something with this and he just didn't know that you could die the entire time, I think I'd prefer that. But at the moment, it's just like, oh, he's just jumping to his death for the 5th time today. I don't know.
I don't think you can do he didn't know. Like, you did that last time. Do something slightly different, please.
Yeah, well, all the good stuff is just borrowed from the original anyway. And then, so, like, something I'm not a big fan of in this series is that the Digimon are just able to evolve, like, episode after episode, even though they should be tired.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even address it. Like,
we have been having them fight in universe for, like, 2 solid hours.
Yeah, and they've been up to perfect, and in the original, when they reverted back from perfect, they were babies, and they were usually babies just for, like, at least, like, a little bit of time. Like, no time has passed, basically, from the last episode in which they were all perfect levels, and they're able to evolve suddenly. Like, the only time they mentioned the Digimon being too exhausted was that one time in that bad episode about the falling Marmimon or something, and then they evolve anyway because Yamato and Taichi decide to share the crest of YOLO. I don't know, it feels like...
Also, it was pointed out to me by our listener Ostig. They said that they reminded me rather that the time dilation thing has just stopped happening.
Yep. Or at least not being referenced anymore. Well, so did the writers. It's just either not being referenced anymore, or just they just stopped wanting to try writing it into it. I don't know.
Yeah, like, it wasn't convenient, so it stopped happening, even though, like, they established it was variable to some extent, but you're stretching variable.
Yeah. Then Gabumon evolves without an animation, and Togemon also evolves, and then suddenly the Tortomon starts screaming, and Groundramon shows up from under the cliff and eats Digimon, which is great. It's horrifying and cruel, but it's always great. And I won't go on too much about it, because I already went on a rant at the start of the episode in the intro, but it's so great seeing Digimon actually be creatures and need to eat Digimon to survive and to evolve. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, because it's a shonen, Taichi immediately has a flashback to the same thing happening last episode and says that Digimon eat so they can have power to evolve. So I'm not sure if that's, like, foreshadowing Groundramon wanting to evolve. I don't know. I feel like that's usually foreshadowing because they're just drilling it into you. They're like, yep, they eat to evolve.
That's not even... Yep. I mean, it's cool that it's doing Vor now. Like, we talked a little bit about Tamers doing, kind of the same idea.
Like PG Vor.
Yeah, and this is definitely a step up, and I think an interesting direction, but I feel like you don't need to remind us of it repeatedly.
Yeah.
That, they have
because it's
that
shonen.
Too. Yeah, it's real weird.
Yeah. Then we have Gurumon saying that they have to fight, and Greymon tells him not to get gobbled up, which is kind of like a cute moment, but also a little bit horrifying.
Yeah.
And then Greymon, Garurumon, and Kabutomon and Birdramon all super evolve, which kind of makes this whole thing very weird. I think we're just ignoring all these, what power levels are, because we're all struggling against a single perfect level. And now we have 4 perfect levels. I just think that, I mean, I guess this whole season would make a lot more sense if just levels didn't matter, because we all struggled against Calmaramon, which according to Virtual Pets, it's because Burning Greymon is now an adult, that they were all struggling against an adult.
Yep.
I don't know. But it makes a lot more sense if just levels don't matter, or you can just be really strong for a level. I don't know. But they're all struggling against Groundramon and their 4 perfect Digimon. We have this cool moment where all the 4 perfect level Digimon are running past, and it kind of reminds me of that lore flashback we get with all the Digimon just running past, and we get them like in slow motion and the Digimon are crying. I'm not sure this is on purpose. I just noticed it felt similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I liked it. If it is a callback, I don't know. Togemon and Kakamon also super evolve, so now we have 6, and then Wergurumon becomes Sagittarius mode, which is like the 3rd time he's done that, and I don't think we've seen Ultras mode since his debut. And also they can just summon this mode change at will, which makes it weird every time they've struggled to fight and not activated this mode change, which... I don't know. It feels weird.
Yeah, and this episode really would have been a perfect time to go with, oh yeah, also, this is not a, like, unique thing. Togemon can just do, or, Palmon, the ultimate, whose name I can't think of, that Togemon become.
Lilymon.
Lilymon, thank you. Yeah, Lilymon can just do that.
You forgot the best Digimon?
I did.
I'm attacked.
It's terrible. No, Lilymon can just, I don't know, morph a machine gun. Who cares? Everybody can just do this now, by the way.
Yeah, I wish that
would have been
the other
so
kids
good.
Could have upgrades.
Yeah, please.
Like, that'd be great. I want Lilymon to have, like, a machine gun. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they absolutely don't. Like, they seem to be caring about Mimi more, and sometimes Koshiro, but they use Koshiro as basically just, like, plot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think out of all the kids that aren't plot, they care about Mimi the most. And to be fair, like
good choice.
That's great. Like, she devoured everyone else's, like, character growth and character in general.
You know what?
So
it was Ken last time. I'm allowing it.
Yeah. Like... I don't know, Mimi and Lilymon are the best, but give her a machine gun. Like, that'd be the great thing. So, Taichi remembers he can also get his Digimon
Mimi
to a special upgrade.
Gun.
Yeah, so, I don't know, Taichi realizes that he can get to the upgrade, and it's kind of weird because I don't think we've seen Ultras mode much since, I don't know. Then we get shots of, like, each kid frowning, and nobody's wondering, hey, what happened to his arm? This is new. I sure do wish that Taichi filled us in on what we missed. Like, no one's going to wonder why he's lost an arm suddenly, and it's now, like, this weird, like, gun sword?
It's so bad. It is the least effective weapon since the gunblade.
Yeah, basically. And then we get, like, this anime moment of, like, everyone combine your attacks because we didn't think of doing this before. And then Metal Greymon shoots down Groundromon's mouth and everyone attacks at once. And it's just, like, it's very much like the skit that I mentioned in the intro segment, which is just, like, what if we just tried? Like, have we tried attacking?
His gun in the dude's mouth to pry it open?
And everyone attacks him, and I don't know why Metal Greymon comes out of this unscathed. Like,
Tai specifically, even if somehow Metal Greymon didn't, Tai at least should be dead.
Yeah, like, I don't know why, like, they have plot armor, but, like, Taichi definitely should have died, like, multiple times in this show. Maybe they can just, like, maybe they're all immortal, like, in this show. Maybe we're just doing a complete, like, opposite of what we had in the original. They're just, like, they can't die. No one can die. Not the Digimon. Death doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Only when we eat. Only Vor. Only in Vor can death count. It's just, I don't know.
No, not even that. Taichi got Vored.
Yeah. They blow Groundramon up and everyone reverts to their child forms, which still is weird. I don't know why they don't revert to their baby forms when they are imperfect. Maybe they're saving it to when they're in Mega, that we'll see their baby forms. I don't know. It feels weird to me. Like, maybe it's because of the original just, like, always had them revert to the baby forms. And also, I like their baby forms. And also, maybe this is why they're not doing it, because they go to perfect every episode. They would also have to evolve from baby to child every episode.
Which good, just call it a warp. Call all the things a warp. And
then just skip some forms.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. But maybe that means they actually have to animate it, which, again, what we were talking about in the intro was that Koromon is drawn instead of Togemon, so maybe they just don't like drawing babies. I don't know. So, yeah, they blow up Groundramon, everyone's child forms. Koshiro says it'll be bad if all the Digimon on this continent are the same level. I'm like, why? Well, you're all perfect levels. That seems equal.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I get wanting an uneven fight, but...
Yeah, but, like, that seems like... Come on, Koshiro. You want to play on an easy difficulty. This is just, like, normal difficulty. Like, they're not really levels above. I don't know.
Koshiro plays life on easy mode.
Basically, yeah, because he's got Google. Then Dark Knightmon shows up, who is another character I'm pretty sure the majority of the cast have not met yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who I guess was the real villain all along? Maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean... I'm fairly, like, confident we have Moon Millenniumon in that little crystal, which I don't know where it's gone.
Yeah.
But go off, I guess. Like, is Ryo showing up? That'd be kind of cool.
Hopefully. Please have Rio show up and just be like, hi, Taichi.
Yeah. And then, like, yeah. And then he's met Taichi before. He's the same Rio. This is a different Taichi. That's the same Rio.
Oh, God. It's Rio 20 years older. Rio is 30 and still dimension hopping.
And he's Jedi. There we go. We went full circle.
That could be amazing. Honestly, I just wanted to say that he's world hopping again because he and Ruki got divorced.
Yeah, because Ruki left. I think I prefer Ruki leaving him at the altar for her maid of honor, who is Jerry.
Yeah. But
like, I'm there for that.
But like, I could almost see Digimon being good enough to just have Rio show up and just be like, by the way, here's the end of all the shipping wars.
Yeah, basically. But anyway, so Sora actually asks who that is, and I'm really happy that Sora exists because this episode she's asked 2 important questions. Hey, Yamato, is that your brother? Because you didn't introduce us. And also, hey, who's that random guy that Taichi and Yamato seem to know? It's Dark Knightmon. And then, of course, because he's a bad guy and he makes an appearance, he decides to blow wind at the children, which I feel like every bad guy has that sort of like appearance. Devimon had that when he showed up. He was like, hey children, have some wind. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Sometimes
I don't know.
You just gotta give wind.
You've got to give wind because like, hey children, have this.
You gotta do it. Come out.
You gotta. You can't just hold that in. You'll combust. Exactly. So, and then Takaru decides that, remembers that his character means to go in front of the bad guy who could kill him, and he doesn't say stop. Like, I'll give him credit. He doesn't say stop this time, but he still stands up to the bad guy and he looks angry. And he's like, angry reacts only. And then Takaru and Patamon are like, we'll fight too. And then Patamon evolves to Angemon. And I'm so happy that he evolves to Angemon because... Yes,
thank you.
In the original, like, it felt so weird that we were constantly just like, hey, why isn't Patamon evolving to Angemon?
Yeah.
Why is he just... He evolves to Angemon like maybe 3 times? And it's always just to like scare off the bad guy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're not going to just have Patamon not evolve for reasons. Like, it makes sense, and I was totally on board with Patamon just staying at Patamon forever, or just like for 20 episodes or something, because that wouldn't be weird. So yeah, the episode ends and we get a new ending sequence which has all the characters hanging out with their partner Digimon in the human world in what appears to be like winter or autumn wear.
Yeah, it's fall clothes.
And it's kind of cute.
I dig it. Mimi is so good.
Mimi gets a highlight in the outro. Like, she's there twice. Like, everyone gets like their single shots.
Mimi is the good character. Like, and please, she like wraps it up. Let her be on screen.
Like, that surprised me that like...
Yeah, same.
She's like more in the outro than anybody else. Like, this is more or less a fairly equal outro. She's the only animated character. Yeah. Yeah, she's the only animated character in it. And also Tailmon's here, but only like the top of her face and some blocks with Hikari.
Yeah, it's...
Because we don't want to see any character yet, because 1, they may not have character, and 2, they don't want to spoil it, but I think it is probably the former.
Yeah. I would still be down if like I said, it just turned out that Tailmon was the villain and... You know, we have to have an arc to convert her, but I sure don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I don't want her to be converted. I just want her to be a bad character for like a long time, or at least longer than the original. I would be down
for that, but I think the best outcome we could get at this point from Digimon would be like 10 episodes of Tailmon just being the villain, and then eventually we, convince her to see the light or whatever.
Yeah, literally see the light. She looks at Hikari and says, "Why are you possessed by a god?"
Oh, and then they start fighting God together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be rad.
That's very Savers. Like, hey, what if we just punched God? I don't know. I like Savers. God. Please. So the outro sequence is pretty cool, and then we get the encyclopedia, which introduces us to Patamon, who can tolerate up to 80 decibels, which is the noise of a train, which is like, okay, good point. And then Koshiro wonders if those are wings or ears, like if they even are ears. And like, that's a really good question. So I posted this on Twitter and everyone was just like, they're wings. And then someone was like, have y'all seen Dumbo? Which is probably the best comment I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I just assumed it was a Dumbo, obviously.
Like,
wouldn't
that be loud? Like, if you started flying with your ears?
Which is, I think, the joke.
Yeah, and I think that's what Kosha was saying, like, you can tolerate up to 80 decibels, but I'm pretty sure if your wings start flapping, like, fast enough for you to fly...
Which is where, at the end, he's just like, so wait, are those even ears? I can't tell.
Yeah,
and that's really good, because the answer is it's both, and also we're ignoring any of the physics on this. That's the whole joke.
Well, we kind of, like, had a little bit of physics.
Mm-hmm. No, like, Koshiro fills in some physics and then goes, no, we're not canonically answering this.
Yeah. And, we get Angemon next week. I don't know if this means we're going to get a perfect evolution from Angemon to fight Dark Knightmon. I think that seems on board.
I feel like we would at least wait and not do it 2 episodes in a row after we took 3 episodes as Patamon.
I mean...
But I could see that being... I mean, like, I don't think we're getting rid of Dark Knightmon next week.
Well, I think he might retreat, or, like...
Yeah.
Or he'll die and then we'll get Moon Millenniumon or something. But I would really like... if we have him, like, Angemon evolve, because I felt like in the original season, we didn't get it until, like, the second last episode.
Oh, I agree.
Or third last.
I don't think that we will do that. Like, I feel like we'll get there, but I feel like they'd put that off until whenever they actually kill Skull Knightmon or Dark Knightmon or whatever the heck his name is.
Yeah, it's Dark Knightmon now.
Okay.
But... I don't know, like, I can see it. Also, bit of a compliment to the next time on for the previous episode. All you saw was Patamon with angel wings. So I was just under the impression that we would just get, like, him with angel wings as sort of, like, a temporary buff. Like, I was surprised to have Angemon there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
I wondered if that's what they were doing or not anyway.
Like, that seems like the next time on constantly have, like... Hey, this is what's happening, this is the evolution we're getting, and, like, here's what it looks like. We may not address it in the next time on the text, but here's an image of it. Mm-hmm. But we didn't see Angemon in the next time on, which is just, like, it's very surprising.
Yeah,
because,
that was
like,
good. I wish we would do a little more of that.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like, I like when the next time ons aren't just, like, blatant spoilers. So, highlights. What were your highlights this week?
I liked that Hikari got a little bit of character with just thinking Agumon was cute. Like, I feel like that's not a super unreasonable reaction to a Digimon, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like, I thought that was... I mean,
6-year-old me would have been like, oh, that's awesome.
Like, oh, giant dinosaur, that's cute. I like that, that's awesome. Like,
exactly.
I would have been a fan.
So, at least it's a start to a personality, and I hope that we get a little more than that, but I'm not.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Confident.
Like, I like that too.
Go ahead.
I know I mention this all the time, but I really like the Digimon that they meet, like the Mons of the Week, aren't just like, ha ha ha, I am evil, I will destroy you. Like, that's not their thing. They're like, their motivation is, I'm an animal.
I live here.
I live here. Random children are showing up. I'm gonna fight them because I don't know who they are, what they are, and I feel threatened. And also, I am a very much bigger Digimon, and I'm going to eat these smaller ones because I'm hungry, and I need to eat to survive.
Yeah, like Joe called it out as survival of the fittest, and yes, that's exactly what it is. We're actually getting that in a show that says it has evolution, which is wild.
And I like that, because, literally the definition of actual evolution, survival of the fittest,
Right there.
You can't just sort of like, you need to evolve to adapt.
I am old enough to remember the Christian right thinking that Digimon and Pokemon were evil for having evolution in them.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that about Digimon, but I definitely saw that about Pokemon, but it was always from America.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, yeah, no,
I'm sure,
it's only an American thing.
I'm sure that we had Australians who thought that. The evolution part of Digimon actually being relevant is great. Like, big fan of that. And and if we see it next episode, I will still compliment it. Like, it's something that maybe as long as I don't explain it again, if it just sort of happens, I'll be like a huge fan of that continuing to happen, because it should happen in every episode, because that's what Digimon who aren't evil should do. That they are threats because they are eating you. You have to defeat them because
they're there. Although that does bring me to a minor lowlight, which is, why is it every time we sight land, we always have to go to whatever the first place we see as an option is and fight our way in? Y'all could have
scout it out to see if there's any danger.
Yeah, Sora would be good at that.
Sora
used to do that.
Arguably they land because Eldoradimon just got, like, potentially blown up.
Yeah, I guess, but actually, that feels like more reason not to get into a fight right now. But anyway.
Also, that's very intense lightning to like cause a whirlpool.
Yeah.
Like, I get that it's like magic black lightning that does things, but
it's
like
magic black lightning that is, I guess, Dark Nightmon's new thing.
I just think it's like that's what happens when data is like transported between the worlds. Like, I thought people say that like, it was like, in this case it was Zurumon eating the data, and that's just how that happened. Like, that's why it's synchronized with the disasters. Or it could be like, I think Dark Nightmon is a mid-boss. I don't think he's like the next big bad. I think he's going to get defeated in one episode, and then we're going to be introduced to the next big bad, who is probably Moon Millenniummon or something.
I definitely don't expect to see Dark Nightmon win, but I do think I think he will survive at least the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he died, but like, I don't really. I'm just happy that he's here from Cross Wars. I'm glad that we're just using Digimon. Like, same with Ground, and this is another highlight. I like seeing Groundramon. I like that we haven't seen Groundramon much before. I like how we're not just introducing. Yeah, we're not just introducing new Digimon. We're also showcasing ones that we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have Groundramon show up as Breakdramon, which again, I'm not sure how I feel about them pulling the "we defeated him, oh, he evolved." But at least they foreshadowed it this time with, "Oh, Digimon eat to evolve." Like, so at least there's that.
I do wish that evolving did not necessarily get to, or specifically did not get to come after your body has been blown up.
Yeah, and that's why I like Seedramon doing it. Seedramon like ate and then immediately evolved.
Yeah,
like,
that was good. It's this thing where we defeat the bad guy and feel like we got closure, and then, oh no, we're gonna be surprised again when exactly the same thing happens.
Like, yeah. But, I mean, he could just not come back, which I think I'd prefer if he didn't come back, and that was just Taichi, like, saying we have to, like, defeat him before he evolves.
That would be much better, and I think that was maybe what they were going for with the glowing red at the end.
I'm not going to be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
With when Breakdramon shows up again, because we've already had that like 3 times, or this will be the 3rd time, where it's just like, we saw it multiple times, because we had Devimon evolved, then Neo Devimon evolved,
and
then Aizmon, Orochimon.
Yep.
We've seen it many times before.
Yeah, no,
if you include the same Digimon.
It every time.
Yeah. And every time it's just been like, I mean, this time will at least be, I mean, he still died, was somewhat, shown as being defeated, but at least this time we kind of foreshadowed that he would evolve. Oh, also, I completely forgot this, and I want to bring this up now because I will completely forget, but I think it was last night. This was Gleaming Gamor on Twitter, and I'm only saying this now because it's relevant, and also I will completely forget about it by the time we get to questions, who says that they felt like we'd be interested to know that in episode 3 of Adventure, when the blackout starts, we see an egg hatch into Aizmon's scatter mode. Aizmon was around as early as then, and we all forgot. Thank you so much. Did not even realise or remember.
Yeah, no.
So that's cool. I had to remember that then. So Digimon does foreshadow things occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. Any other highlights? Because I just I liked quite a surprisingly
Koshiro sliding down the Islandmon, Eldoradimon, and Tentomon just trying to push him to keep him in place was adorable, and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, all the interactions between Digimon and their partners, like Mimi being scared, and then like having Palmon like basically be like this guy broke down.
God, that was a highlight. That was a really good highlight.
Yeah, like and Gomamon and Joe, as I mentioned earlier, when Joe says, "Hi, I'm a leader. If you need anything, let me know," and Gomamon saying, "It's okay. We'll let you know. Everyone will let you know. It's okay." Like, sort of just taking like, "You need to calm down, Joe," but I'm saying this in a nice, friendly way. Like, the interactions between the partners are great, and I feel like at least the children who aren't Taichi and Yamato have interactions with their partners, which seem kind of nice. I wish we saw more about Biyomon and Sora, because so far it's just been she rides her.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. Yamato, there's a picture I just posted in there that is both a high and low light of him just doing the Captain America pose.
I think you put it in a different chat.
Wrong chat, yep.
Did you send it to your friend again and she's going to be
yes.
Okay, that's great, but what is this?
I sent it to 2 of my friends.
Oh, that's great. They will now know.
Other group chat that I ever post things in.
And you have to like send that the Taichi dying to friendly fire on
God
Metal
damn
Greymon
it! I've been posting. No, I didn't post a shitload of pictures. Sorry. That's fine. But please, you need to send that through because I need to steal that for the Twitter because that is a great caption and also completely reasonable that to do that. Oh yes, that is good. That I'm fine. Pardon? No, what is the caption that you want?
I can't remember the exact one, but it was like Taichi dies to friendly fire. And it's
that
the
one's
shot
really
of,
good.
Which is a shot of when they're all firing into Metal Greymon, which he should be dead.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Hey, I guess I know we've already spoiled Tri, but like spoilers for Tri at the start of like I think it was part 4 when we have them all defeating the Dark Masters as like the original Chosen, and then like Megadramon dies because they all fire it. This is the exact same thing as that.
It's
like
so
they all
bad.
fire into Megadramon, and Megadramon dies, and it causes Maki to like have some PTSD, which is just like completely reasonable, actually.
Yeah, like if Taichi had died, it would have felt more or less like a better version of Tamers and Beelzemon.
Yeah, but I don't know. I liked the aesthetics of it, but it just
In terms of Taichi takes stupid risks and is rewarded by the plot, it is annoying.
It is plot armor, and that is a low light, but it looked good. But also, Megadramon died in Tri for this. This is the exact same way Megadramon died.
It sure was.
Like, I don't know why we're just... It looks good, though, and that's the thing. Do we have any other highlights? Because I just liked the fact that, and this is probably reflective of my rating, I'm just really happy that we see everyone work together as a team again, and we see everyone be important and fight.
Yeah, no, my big one is definitely Mimi in the end. God, I need Mimi's outfit, and I love Palmon with the little scarf, and it's so good, and they dance, and I love it, and she's got really cute Uggs.
Mimi is the best in basically everything.
She's
like,
so
has
good.
Mimi, like, I swear, like, every writer must just have Mimi as their favorite because, like, every iteration of Mimi, like, she just keeps on getting better. I mean, I think her worst one was Revenge of Diaboromon, how she just shows up from being on holidays and just is annoying and says, oh, what does this button do to Koshiro? That's probably, like, the worst we see Mimi.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, and I guess in all the movies, Mimi could be better.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, I mean, except for Tri, she was actually pretty good in Tri. And the stage play, she was so good in the stage play.
I have not seen the stage play. I need to.
Oh, it's so good. Onke subbed it, but also I have it on DVD because it's so good. The stage play is the best part of Tri.
We should see if Onke would come on sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I adore Onke. Onke is so good.
Yeah,
like,
she's great.
Onke, she is my senpai.
Yep.
I have many like Japanese senpais though. I called her senpai and she called me kohai and I was like, aww. And she sent me a Palmon one, like the Palmon, the fluffy Palmon plush toy. Not Palmon, Tanamon. And yeah, Onke's the best. Everyone watch the stage play and also like follow Onke because Onke is the best. Yeah, basically. That is my recommendation. Follow 1K and also watch the stage play because despite the fact like the stage play was written by someone who didn't really know Digimon beforehand, they did a great, like they did so much research into the characters. Like it looks like it was made by a fan, like a fan that like loves the series and has a lot of care for the series. That's how good the stage play is. Like all the characters are so good.
Cool.
But yeah, stage play is great. We covered it on the podcast. Like, well, Jay and I, the Royal We, Jay and I covered it on the podcast back when it came out. And it's really long, but it is just the best part of Tri. Anyway, any other highlights?
No, I think that's about it. I did like that the kids got back together briefly, which brings me to a low light, which is next time on talking about how we're doing separations again.
I hope that's not the case because, I mean, I'm split between that being the case. One, it always feels kind of annoying when they separate it because they don't seem to be doing a very good job. But some of the best episodes this season were at the start of the show when we were just... it was like we separated because of choice. I don't want to be separated because of plot. I want to be separated because we'll cover more ground this way.
It sure looked like we were going to be separated because of fight. Maybe we'll mix up the groups a little bit, but I doubt it.
I mean, separation parts in Digimon, like, have always been either so bad, like the arc we just had. I feel like we didn't see any of the other group. It was always like the same thing of just like them talking about some boats on a bench for like 5 minutes and then we go back to the actual plot. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But separation arcs, when they're by choice, as in the perfect evolution arc in this season, and also the Dark Masters arc in the original, those were probably like some of the stronger episodes. And also I guess the Vamdemon arc of the original adventure wasn't a separation arc, but the kids were split up because they all went to their respective homes. But it's good because we got to focus on each of the characters. We didn't even see Koshiro's family. Or we saw like them being maybe a little bit upset or something, and all the kids having their families being a little bit worried that they disappeared. But we didn't know about like the dynamic of any of the families, which is kind of annoying. Like, I wanted to have some family explanations.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like the little bit we got of Mimi was really good.
And like the 5 seconds of Sora's, I still like.
Well, yeah,
I know that it could have been better.
But it does almost started the inevitable Takeru arc, but we're just not talking about their family situation, I guess.
Nope, we're not. Which is weird because they brought it up in like episode 3 of the original series. And Koshiro's family arc was also brought up in his evolution episode of the original series of just like, hey,
it's been brought up here.
Hey Koshiro, why are you so interested in knowing things? And then he has a flashback of like his parents saying that they're hiding something from him. Like, wow, that's good. And then later on we find, he's adopted, but it's okay because his parents are his adopted parents are still his parents. And they're perfect and they're wonderful and they just care for him so much, and he's okay with being adopted.
Yeah.
He loves his parents. Like, they're still his parents. Like, he loves them.
Yeah.
And that's great. But I wish we had more of that. But anyway, back to my point is that separation arcs can be good, but only if they focus, like, equally on the characters and they use the separation arcs to say, okay, we split up the cast so we can focus on individuals more. I would like that, but I'm always just so pessimistic because Frontier had, like, separation arc after separation arc. And they were never showing enough character. It was always very, like, vague.
Well, we just did a separation arc where, 4 of our characters got to sit around and mostly not do very much.
Yeah. I mean, this season so far has been separation arc after separation arc. Like, at the start of the show, we all had to gather, each other because we were all separated in the digital world and we didn't know each other yet. And then we had, the perfect arc, which was a separation arc. And then we had them in fake Tokyo and not fake Tokyo. And that's sort of when they met up again. And then they were immediately separated into real Tokyo and digital world.
Mm-hmm.
So we just, this show is just, we can't write 8 characters, so we have to separate them. Which is fine as long as we do write them.
Yeah, like, which would kind of be fine if you, like, split them up in different ways each time and made them work together and be, different characters in a room together. But instead we just keep fighting things.
Yeah, I know. But as for overall lowlights of this episode, I don't actually... I mean, Hikari is kind of a little bit empty. I hope that she's just being possessed by homeostasis. But I don't actually have that many lowlights. Like, everything that I don't like about this episode isn't unique to this episode. Like, all of my complaints are for the whole series. Like, why are we only... Like, I mean, at least they gave Sora some lines this time. But why are we constantly able to evolve without being tired? And when we are tired, we can evolve anyway. Why is like every battle result in just like attacking harder?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least this one looks nice.
Yeah, like we used to, and I feel like this is just a thing at the beginning of every season of Digimon, is we briefly had a period of we're a little bit underpowered and have to use tactics to, solve things. And then it turns out coming up with new tactics all the time is hard, so what if we got more powerful?
Yeah, which is, it is shonen. I'm not going to, like, people keep on saying, oh, you can't just complain about it being shonen. I'm like, yeah, okay, but you can be good shonen.
Right.
But also, I am aware I'm watching shonen.
Yeah, it's a really common problem in shonen, and I feel like I'm the only person who cares more about that early part when we're, trying to solve problems with brains instead of, but what if I got a bigger gun?
Yeah, which is it's every shonen. Like, I love My Hero Academia, but so often it's just like, what if I just attacked harder? Yeah. What if I put in more effort? And I know that's a whole thing. Like, we have to go beyond plus ultra, and I'm like, okay, why don't you do that from the start? But it's fine, like, because they do it in just such a pleasant way. But even My Hero Academia, which is just like, I love it, and it's very popular.
I've only seen
it
a few
also
episodes,
has that problem.
But it was good, and
it's just, it is a problem with shonen. It doesn't mean it's good, right. But it's in every, like, I'm watching Demon Slayer at the moment, and so far they haven't really done what if we just tried harder. But I mean, arguably it's like a little bit, it feels a little bit older than shonen. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like not seinen, but like maybe like if there was like a level between seinen and shonen, which is just like shonen but for like older teenagers.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I wish and I guess One Punch Man is kind of going in this direction, but I wish there were a little bit more in the way of anime for adults who, you know, have been the generation that grew up watching more or less exclusively anime and still care about it.
Oh, I would say Demon Slayer falls under that.
Okay.
Like, I get that feel from it. Like, it's... And from what I've read of Fire Force, that feels like... And maybe also even, like... I've only also just started watching this because I'm, like, decades behind, but Full Metal Alchemist?
I just rewatched that, like, 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I love Full Metal Alchemist.
Is that technically a seinen? I can't remember.
I don't remember anymore. It's definitely got some shonen DNA.
You know what's a good show that's a seinen? Arjun. Arjun's so good. It's on Netflix. Everyone go watch Arjun. It's just like, even though every time I think about Arjun, I can taste like chili in my mouth, because there was a period where I just cooked chili like all the time, and it was also the time when I was watching through Arjun. So like, watch it. It's good. It's on Netflix. It's like, it's sort of like one of those like computer generated anime, but you get used to it like very quickly. Like at the start, I was like, oh, I don't know about this style, but like it gets so good. But yeah, anyway, shonen has a problem of what if we just attack harder, and I don't know, it's not good.
Maybe this is going to be me diving into things a little hard. I would point out that Full Metal Alchemist is a really, really good shonen and written by a woman, and I feel like that makes a difference sometimes.
Well, unlike a lot of popular anime of that era, aren't they also written by women? Like, I think Inuyasha is also written by a woman. Oh yeah,
it was.
FMA is a shonen. I would have sworn it was a seinen.
It's definitely kind of on the border there.
It was, yeah, and
Inuyasha was definitely Rumiko Takahashi, but I wouldn't necessarily have called it a shonen. It's very much Sailor Moon-y shonen for girls.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Demon Slayer is a shonen, but yeah, I would definitely say that it sits at that line between like just a little bit above shonen. There's just like feels like a seinen, but still a shonen. Mm-hmm. Like I guess same as FMA.
Yeah.
But both of those. Well, I haven't finished either of them, but both of them so far seem to be not going down the route of like, let's just attack better.
Yeah.
Which is good, but it is very common in shonen to happen, so... I mean, it's still a low light. It is definitely still a low light, but it's not unique to it. And every complaint I have about this episode isn't unique to this episode.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that I complain about in every episode, which is just sort of... I don't know, I think that makes it not that bad as an episode, because... It doesn't introduce any complaints?
It's very middling. I am still left wondering if Leomon died, and I would be pretty underwhelmed if this is how we kill off Leomon.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, because this series so far seems to have a lot of things that are underwhelming.
Yeah.
But, yeah, do we have any other lowlights?
Nothing specific to this episode.
Okay, let's move on to favourite character. Mine won't be a surprise. I picked Mimi.
Mimi.
It was either Mimi or Palmon, so I picked Mimi.
Yeah.
Because I've picked Palmon actually a lot more than I've picked Mimi, I think. And Quinn, who are we choosing?
Mimi.
That's fair. And I will look at Stevie's responses. I may as well look at them now. What did Stevie say? Favourite character? Let's go with good old reliable Joe. Not like anyone else did anything especially noteworthy anyway. That is fair. Joe was good.
Joe was adorable.
Joe is like very Joe, and I really like that. Like, every episode he's in, he does like at least one thing that is very Joe, and that's great. That also makes him a really easy target for favourite character, because he's always doing something. And I think I wanted to wait till the end of like this season to do this, but I kind of want to put a pie chart of like, or like maybe a bar chart might be better of like what character has been picked the most, because I feel like it must be Joe. Actually, I feel like looking at Stevie's responses, I feel like Stevie's picked Joe like a lot of the time, which is completely reasonable. Very deserving.
Me when we get to the end of the show, and I can make that very easily.
Yeah. Next we will go to what I've lost my notes. There we are. Ranking. I definitely gave this episode a higher score than it probably deserves, but that was based on other things that I've given certain scores to, and I felt like it was definitely better than a lot of episodes that I gave lower scores to, so I sort of gave it a ranking looking at what I've given other episodes. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I feel like that is too high, but yeah. This episode, it was just Digimon. And it was Digimon at like its most slightly better than okay. Like, I don't know. I mean, I like this episode. I'm a fan of the kids all fighting together. I'm a fan of the Mimi and Palmon sass. I'm a fan of Digimon actually being creatures. Like, they're actually digital monsters. Like, they are monsters. We're not forgetting that. They have to eat to survive. It is fine. It is reasonable. I love that. Yeah. I gave it a 4, but that's because, like, I felt this was a touch better than the 3.5 I gave last time. And then I looked at what I also gave a 3.8 to, and that was episode 2, and I feel like this was better than episode 2. So I gave it a 4 based on my initial knee-jerk reaction was 3. But then, as I said, I looked at 3.5 from last week's episode, I looked at the 3.8 from episode 2, and I had to give it a 4. And that is probably more than it deserves, but as I said, it didn't introduce any lowlights that were unique to this episode. It just sort of carried on with lowlights from the entire season, and it just had it wasn't a fantastic episode. It was a little bit okay, but I'll just give it a 4. Like, I haven't really given apparently I gave a 4 to episode 22, but I feel like I've been too negative. I'm going to give this a 4. Quinn, what are we giving this episode?
I think I'm going to go with a 3, because you're right, it was fair. Better than last week, and I want to give it some credit for that. You know, acknowledging that these complaints are not unique, I continue to be disappointed that Takeru and Hikari, even now, way after any sort of, like, we can't have them say too much because we'd spoil things, like, they need a personality, and neither of them. And they look
at each other with their cold, dead eyes.
Yeah.
And somebody said, like, I think this was on Reddit, so it wasn't like to our podcast, but someone said, we can, the shipping has started between TK and Hikari. I'm like, they looked at each other with the cold, dead eyes of strangers. Like, that's the look I give someone when I'm going to Coles to buy some bread. Like, it's the same sort of, like, I'm acknowledging your existence, but you are also a customer, also buying bread. So I'm effectively looking right past you because I don't want to think that you exist. Or when I'm, like, at the gym and I'm using, like, some free weights, and then in the cage, and then someone is on the other side of the cage facing me, and we're facing each other. They're like, doing deadlifts, I'm doing squats. Yeah, we're just, like...
No animosity, but it'd be weird if you talked to each other.
Yeah, like, I mean, he was like the buffest redhead I've ever seen in my life, like, doing a warm-up of, like, over 100 kilograms for a deadlift, and I was like... Definitely nice to look at, nice view, but we're also just gonna look at each other with our cold, dead eyes because we're just going to ignore the fact we exist. We're just looking through each other because no one wants to acknowledge anybody at the gym. Like,
no one wants to hit on or think they are hitting on someone else.
Like, you might, like, you know, if you see someone a few times, you might, you know,
you can
smile or wave or acknowledge. Yeah, but when you are working out, doing your ugliest working out, I'm lifting heavy weights face, do not talk to me.
Nope.
You just look past each other. There is no shipping. There is no emotion in their eyes. They are just Hikari's cold, dead eyes are just looking through him, basically.
They are a couple of 8-year-olds in the same room. Going through trauma.
Yeah. Like, calm down. Like, we can have, like, cute 8-year-old romance when they just hold hands and they get, like, all bashful about that. But they were just looking past each other, basically, being like, I have a Jesus. You also are Jesus, huh? Like, I don't know.
Also, like, I've met your older brother, so I guess that's a thing we have in common. Okay.
We both have older brothers. Great. Let's not talk about that. But, and anyway... for Stevie's rating, Stevie gave it 2.5, so it was like, that's a pass. So it was a passable episode, which means that overall, this episode got a 9.5, so it's better than last week's episode. What else have we given a 9.5 to? Is 9.5 a completely unique thing?
It might be.
That makes my... That's so... I love when it's completely unique because that makes the overall ranking so easy. So it's right between episode 26 and episode 24. Episode 24, because Quinn can be a little bit extra, is a 9.75 because Quinn gave a 2.75, but that's okay because I've also given 0.75s, and I think in episode 2
Stevie
both
complains.
Yeah, Quinn and I both gave a 3.8 to episode 2, so we have this weird 11.1 in the overall. Anyway, so that episode will be just under episode 24, and great, I don't have to even do any thinking because episode 26 is right below 24, which means, where did I put this episode? There we are. It is in 18th place, which is below episode 24 and above episode 26. And that is a fine place to put it. Like,
yeah.
That is fine. Speaking of ranking, I put this in 15th place. So below episode 9, The Ultimate Invasion, which I think was that was the Ogremon episode, motivating Taichi, and above episode 4, which is that's another reason I gave it a 4, because it was it's definitely better than Bergermon Soars. Quinn, where are we putting
episode 27? I think I am going between 5 and 22. I'm not sure what the number on that is.
That's 13th place.
Yeah. I'm being a little generous, but I feel like this is the high end of a 3 for me.
Oh yeah, it is definitely it's better than the chunk of episodes we've had for the last couple of episodes, the few episodes that we've had. Episode 23 to 23, 24, and 25 were just so eh.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why this episode is something I enjoyed, because it was fine.
Mm.
I liked the Digimon eating.
Yeah,
and then
the DigiVore.
DigiVore's good. The DigiVore is up and coming, and Stevie puts in 19th place, which is between episode 10 and episode 16. So I'll put it there, and then we have our up-to-date ranking, including episode 26 and 27. And yeah, I think it was a fine episode. There have been better, but they've definitely most certainly been worse.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on to Stevie's stance with Stevie's overall thoughts. And Stevie says, meh, I liked Kari calling Digimon cute, and on the other end of the spectrum, I liked Tortamon being devoured by Groundramon. I think that was its name anyway. Patamon's Digivolution sequence was pretty cool too. And yeah, I think that we all agree that the devouring of Digimon is a good... it's horrifying, it's cruel, but in terms of something existing in media, it is, not terrible. It is a good thing. It should be in Digimon because they're monsters.
Yeah, honestly, it should also be in Pokemon, but Pokemon is cowards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Pokemon are vegetarian. Because they eat,
Brock just makes unnamed Pokemon food.
Yeah, it's just random Pokemon pellets. It's almost... And I think it's actually said in Pokemon that, they can only eat this special kind of food.
Yeah.
Which seems like they're very much writing away the fact that the giant wolf should definitely eat meat.
Uh-huh. No, it's...
the giant fire wolf.
The pellets are made of Krabby.
I mean, I know canonically, people eat Farfetch'd.
Yeah? Yeah.
But I feel like it's only referencing the games in something if you actually read.
Yeah.
And kids won't necessarily go through and read every single Pokédex entry. They'll probably read their favorites, but
nobody's favorite is Farfetch'd.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Farfetch'd. You're a normal type. And yeah, so that's a thing. Do you want to move on to questions? Because I realized that I do actually have to start work in just over 10 minutes.
Then yes, let's do questions quickly.
Alright, on YouTube we have Ali G, who says that they're glad the others saved Matt and Ty this time instead of the other way around. Yep, and that was my highlight of the last episode. They showed up and it seemed really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Next we have Ray of Truth saying homeostasis is just a plot, but this show desperately needs plot. Absolutely. I really am still on team. Hikari is being possessed the whole time, and imagine if she's just this little punk. Imagine if she's actually this terrifying little punk, rebel, she's DW from Arthur.
Oh, that'd be so good.
And
the
that's
world
why
needs
Taichi
more DW.
was Taichi was concerned that his normally terrifyingly terrible little sister was quiet. I don't know, that fits. But I doubt it because that'd be so different from every other version. Yeah, it'd be too good, so it's not happening. Again, our slogan. Camilo on YouTube says, "We will not get it because it'll be too good. I don't know, we kind of got Mugenjamon in the best way possible, but everything leading up to it was terrible. So we probably will get Evil Tailmon, but everything about it will be lame." And yeah, when I say I want, like, it sounds too good, I want it to be done well.
Oh yeah,
like I want the execution to be good.
Yeah, let Tailmon be, like, evil because she just specifically wants to be. And, like, kind of a big bad. Make her be important.
Yeah. Next we have Ganesh, who says, "Maybe they were hungry and couldn't go to Perfect. Also, it was cool to see Greymon's horn pierce in Ultimate. That was cool. But also, on the being hungry thing, they need to actually say it. But also, we were exhausted and were able to evolve. So, I don't know. They just need to say it more.
And yeah, if you're gonna, like, don't introduce a rule and then don't follow it, definitely don't follow it sometimes.
Yeah. Then we have Red Ranger, who says, "Digimon eating Digimon, that's some Tamers vibes." Which, yep. And I think we very much went over that again today. Yep. So we're very much treading over a lot of things, but I just really liked it that much. Next we have Grey Tanuki, who says they liked how the episode wrapped up the storyline in the real world and gave that group more time to bounce off each other. And I would agree, they needed, I mean, they could have had even more time, but they still at least had a little bit more time. It wasn't just like, let's check on these characters for 30 seconds. So it felt more. Then they say that they thought it was neat they managed to defeat the Zurumon by solving the tanker problem. I don't think the Zurumon were defeated because they came back this episode, but maybe they're just a bigger horde, I don't know. Grey Tanuki continues to say that they've been waiting for the rest of the group to rejoin with Taichi and Yamato, and was pleasantly surprised we didn't have a multi-episode story of them trying to find a way back to the digital world, even though them being whisked away was a bit goofy. Yep, would agree. Then they continue, they say that they're excited that the show has them curious about whether Zurumon was sending the data and for what purpose. Hikari was called to the digital world, gang in tow. And then they finished off to say, on an extra note, they love the sound effects of the Siegramon and the eerie song that played when they were following the Zurumon. If we haven't heard that one before, I guess I hadn't noticed it. And yeah, it was, there was a lot in last episode that was, like, hopeful for the rest of the series, and it was a lot better than what we've seen. So yeah, there is a lot to like about the last episode, and I guess this episode as well. And last up we have Alpha who says that they thought the fight choreography was good, and yep, the fight in the last episode was nice to see, but it also felt like the Yamato and Taichi, they were just waiting for the other characters to show up, basically. And that's it for questions. Do we have any other miscellaneous thoughts?
It's a real shame that Groundramon is not a Siegramon clone, but with legs.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And also, like, yeah, we have Airdramon, and then we have Siegramon, and Groundramon is just, like, completely unrelated. Yeah. Sort of. Evolves from Dracomon, and in my head, and it's not canon at all, but Dracomon evolves to Airdramon in my head. So...
Fair enough.
I think Dracomon's path is like one of the most linear paths in all of Digimon. Like, it just sort of stays the same. There's different colours of the Korodramon, which is the adult form. So thanks for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Next time we'll be covering episode 28, The Children's Fight for Survival. Do we have any quick predictions before I have to do the outro and run away for work?
I predict I will be disappointed.
I predict that, I'm just going to say, we're going to get Holy Angemon, Dark Knightmon will either be destroyed, or Moon Millenniummon will show up in the last 5 minutes to, like, just sit on Dark Knightmon, and Dark Knightmon dies, because that seems like what Digimon does. Like, we have a big bad, but then the other big bad shows up and, like, just devours it. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to predict that happens. Or something.
To the extent, yeah, my last prediction then in that case is that I think that Dark Knightmon is going to have been Moon Millenniummon's servant all along and will survive for a while.
Well, yeah, he's a knight. That's kind of like, a knight's thing is to, like, serve some ruler.
So I don't think he'll get eaten by Moon Millenniummon. Or if he does, it won't be soon.
But that's something that happens to Digimon servants. Like, Vamdemon did some eating, Devimon did some eating, like...
Yeah, everyone does a little light servant eating. Also, it's literally a theme of this season.
Yeah, everyone does a little bit of vor. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's completely fine. But yeah, those are basically my predictions. I think, possible Angemon evolution, Moon Millenniummon shows up, even if it's for the last, 30 seconds of the episode. And also, apparently, we're separating again, which I hope is done. It's not just, the plot, but they actually something good happens. I don't know. I want to be hopeful. Like, this episode made me hopeful, but that means that next episode needs to actually be something. Like, if it's not good, it's going to be incredibly bad. And I don't want that. So I'm going to just be hopeful, hopefully. So, thanks for listening. The link dump's linked in the description. And a Redbubble's also linked in the description. And you get more than just shirts there too. You can get some stickers or a mug. It's like winter in the Northern Hemisphere, so if you want like a hot chockey, you can like get a mug with some mostly Edgemon and Lockmon on it. But yeah, so check that out. And someone bought some stickers, so that's exciting.
We should get up some new merch.
We should.
Because I would get a coffee mug of me.
Oh, and speaking of which, and I forgot to mention this earlier because I suck, Chisai did the commission that we were talking about, which is the Devimon sleepover. So I know I've retweeted that on Twitter a lot, but I will link it in the link dump as well. So that please check that out. So otherwise, you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message on our website, LostinTranslationmon.com. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, where I post a lot of screenshots as well as I retweet like awesome fan art. A lot of it's by Chisai, especially when when Quinn commissions her, and we get amazing Devimon's breakup. Get well soon sleepover party.
Yep.
So yeah, check that out. We're also Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a thread on With the Will and one on Reddit in the Digimon subreddit. And we'd appreciate it if you would review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Player FM. I don't even know if Player FM has reviews. I only said it because I use Player FM. So basically, yeah, give us a review, and if I can find it, I will read it out on the podcast in our questions segment, which is called Postmon Pat, but less officially than it used to be. And you can also donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to a listed Discord server, but there are higher levels for more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more. And thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Joe, Stephen Reeves, who's 1week64 on Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who you can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, and also incredible commission art, Kyle Lismet, who's Lekmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Metal Mamimon, Sam, Spiral, Keith from Gone Will Hunting, a Hunter x Hunter rewatch podcast, Silverhead Freak 25, Magnus, Lucas, Blind Man, and Japhus. And of course, you can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon. You can also donate to me on Ko-fi, which is ko-fi.com/Edra. And yeah, I know I slipped up a couple of words there, but I don't think I flubbed as aggressively as previous weeks.
You did great.
I definitely said chitter instead of Twitter, though.
You know what? That's just
when I
great.
Said,
on the chitter.
When I said... yeah, when I combined Chisai236 and Twitter and just went chitter. I'm like, whoops.
You know, when you send out a cheat.
A cheat, yeah. Oh no. I know I stuttered a couple of times, but I think I did the outro better than I've done it forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. What a good point to finish on. I have work in 5 minutes.
All right.
Thank golly gosh, I'm still working remotely.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you everyone for listening, and of course, thank you Quinn for joining me. Where can we find you?
You can't, except occasionally over on. Lost in Translation Mon. No, that's not the podcast that I'm talking
Moncast,
about.
the other one.
The Moncast.
Yeah. Well, that's not false. You can be found here.
That's true.
And this is also definitely our longest podcast recording. I blame the constant rants from my part. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But anyway, so of course, thank you for joining me, Quinn, and thank you everyone for listening and joining us in discussing episode 27. We will see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.